Hey everybody, it's Hillside Prepper 552. So we got some stuff to talk about today because we had an ironic event last night. I'm going to learn to keep my big mouth shut from now on. Finally back on the computer. I had all my stuff set up, but I had an antivirus program. I think it was a Vast on here, and um, it slowed my computer down. I couldn't play Fortnite, and it just slowed everything down. Everything kept crashing. I tried to do a video for this channel through the OBS software, and that crashed too. So if you like the channel, I'm going to try as hard as I can to get going back on at least every other day or daily uploads. With winter coming and a break from schooling coming, that should be more doable. This last year we had a lot of stuff going on, so I will definitely try to do that. Still in the whole we thing, but whatever. I'm the only one who runs both my channels anyway, but it's just easier to say we. So again, you like the channel, like and subscribe. Throw some comments down. I know yesterday we had a comment about Central New York. Appreciate the comment. I can't remember the name. I think it was Tex Mike, if that was correct. Let me just check to make sure. Yes. And then I'm trying to use my phone to tell this too. Oh my goodness. It always wants to tell me the latest performance on the videos and never wants to tell me the comments. But that's YouTube for you. I might have to actually go into the YouTube app and hopefully, sounds off. So the comment yesterday, yes, from Tex Mike, living in a commie state, moved out 15 years ago. Yes, and I would love to do the same too, but I have a family that loves being here. We do live in the countryside, in Central New York. Not going to say specifically where, because we've seen with some other preppers that some crazies has come along. Not saying that anyone's crazy, but last thing I need is some person knocking on my door. Because of my YouTube channel. With these YouTube channels, I have a friend that I talked to that I met from another channel, drives a truck, and he's been having some issues. So with the whole prepping thing, if you're going to do YouTube or anything like this, podcasting or something where you're showing your face and you're putting opinions out there, you're kind of putting yourself a little bit of risk here. So you should always, in a prepared mindset, be prepared for that. So, we're going to talk about what happened last night, but first, the two things that have been on the talk list for the last couple days in the news is the Belarus-Poland border crisis at 12:03 today. The authors from New York Times, Higgins and Santora, put out there's a tense standoff where the Polish border guards are using water cannons, tear gas to repel what they said was an attempt by migrants to breach the heavily guarded frontier. So we're seeing videos where these migrants are coming in with the bolt cutters and they're getting timber. But like New York Prepper pointed out yesterday, who's bringing clippers from Syria and Iraq? No one's dragging those things unless you had a heavy backpack on, which a lot of these people don't. So this is just Lukashenko kind of throwing his weight around. The EU threw sanctions on. But Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland are accusing Lukashenko of a hybrid attack using human beings as weapons. So this is kind of something that we've been worried about coming through the southern border a lot of times. You don't know who's coming through, and if you're just letting people through with no vetting process, have a higher risk of people blending in, especially people from the Middle East who are engaged in the terroristic activities. They could have the similar. I gotta watch my wording here and tread carefully, but being exposed to the sun more often, they have a different color tone to their skin, and that they can fit in with people from Mexico or the southern countries because of that exposure. So it's really hard to know who's coming through and doing what. It's not from any kind of racial perspective. Believe me, I don't want to put that out there. It's just from a safety reasoning. Someone can look like someone else and blend in. They can learn a different language, like the Spanish language, make it look like they're originally from Mexico or Southern America or Central America. Now we got problems coming into the southern border. So this is Lukashenko throwing his weight around. Putin says he's got no idea about this stuff, but clearly they're both allied. I think they're getting ready to set up for something where Putin wants to get to the eastern parts of Ukraine, cut off Ukraine from the the Black Sea they said over there. But we'll see. This is just such a back and forth thing, and people are putting this on World War III alert. I don't know if this is a World War III situation at this point, but this is certainly disruptive and chaotic, and it just goes to show the same issues that we've been having for a while now. So on to the next thing. I talked about heat yesterday. Talked about gas prices. AAA says we are down 1 cent on the national average at $3.41 per gallon. This is regular gasoline. Now, last night, as a twist fate of irony would have it, yesterday's video we talked about what would happen, how you're going to stay warm and heat your house in the wintertime. Talked about coal stoves and wood stoves being a nice manual thing that you control. Electricity going out, EMP attack. As fate would have it, around midnight last night here, our area lost electricity. I think NYSEG said somewhere of 3,600 customers were out, and let's see, that was I don't know, 7-8 townships, something like that. Going from here all the way up to the northeast into the next county, and actually north into that county as well. So the area that I reside in is especially where I live, in a 3-county area. The area is made up mostly of it's like a 4-county regional area, but I live in a northern part of a county, and you go directly north and east 3 miles, you're in the next county, and you go up 5 miles, something like that, you're in another county. So it's in that area was out, and this is nothing new for us, but the interesting thing to me was NYSEG immediately knew what the problem was. So I don't know how it works in other states with your grid companies, but with NYSEG, you call their number. You got to put in your phone number or your account number, and the thing they say is, let me check for known disruptions, and then the computer says, I do see an interruption in your area affecting 3,601 people. I don't know where the one came from. And they already had an estimated restoration time. Now, mind you, this is like a minute or two after the power goes out. Usually when I get around to getting on my phone and calling, it's not that fast. They'll usually say, I don't see any known interruptions in your area. Well, last night was a little different, and they kind of knew. Now, originally we were told by the electric company that our line comes from the northwest. We had an outage over the summertime where the substation was northeast of here and the next county over. So not really sure where the feed line's coming from, if they've changed some things up, but this is the second time, and I feel like it had something to do with that substation again. So this is the second time. And the other thing that is going around, rumor in the prepping community, is that rolling blackouts are going to occur in the wintertime, especially up in the northeast, because we don't have the energy to sustain the grid. I don't think this was part of it. That was pretty quick. They had an estimated restoration time of 4 o'clock. It was actually around 4:30, but they were rolling people back in. You would check the website, and it'd be down from 3,600 out to 2,500, then down to 900, and then everybody was back online. So a twist of fate, a little twist of irony here. A little unprepared on my side. My phone was charging. I think it was at like 76% when it went out. And I have a really nice surge protector up here on this shelf. It's like a circular one, and you can turn different sides on and off, and it has USB plugins. But all my important prudent devices, like my printer, computer, monitor, radios, charging stations, are up there. And what I have done over the summer when I went for work is I'd shut different sides off, and it prevents surge. Well, this thing helped prevent surge last night. That was great. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, the phone was at 70-something%, and a little unprepared for that, because usually I had portable batteries, and I've seen these on Amazon, and I really want to get one of these when I get some extra cash on the side. I'm going to do that. But The Amazon has a weather radio. It's the called a Rainic. It's 5,000 mAh. I don't know. That's something for solar. I have no idea what that unit transcribes to in watts or voltage or whatever. But it's a solar hand crank emergency radio, 5 ways powered. But it comes with a portable radio flashlight, so you can access the weather radio. I don't need to worry about accessing that because it's on my portable Baofeng radio, but having cell phone charger that's hand crank would be nice. But an SOS alarm too. Is right now they cut the price down from $41.99 to $35.99, but it sounds like something that's good. It supports 7 bands of radios, but it doesn't really say what kind. I'm trying to search through now and see what kind of radio besides NOAA it supports. But there's lots of these that are 4-star and above that are hand crank radios, that you solar powered. And these ones here, this is, let me click on this one here. This one is basically the same thing. It's from the Rocam store, and it's got shortwave on there. But it tells you, I can see on the display, it tells you what frequency you're tuned into, and that's really important for the weather ones, especially around here. We have 2 different weather towers. One's on 4.5 and one's on 4.25. You can easily access both. When you go to the north, you got to switch to 4.0, I think, something like that. It's usually always in 162 point whatever megahertz in those bands. That would be the 2-meter band, somewhere around there. But that's where I got caught with my pants down, let's say, for that, because my phone was starting to die pretty quickly last night. And that's something you can't rely on. If your power goes out, you can't always rely on landlines, especially if you have phones that are like the little portables. So relying on cell phones for internet and the weather and everything that's going on, not the first time I have to do that, but that's a important thing, and that's an ironic thing that as soon as I mentioned it last night and yesterday's video, this happens today. But within, I don't know if it was a total of like a 5-hour time span, and it got really, really cold really fast in here. Bundled up, ended up wearing the Under Armour layer that I usually wear for a wicking layer, and then another sweater into bed last night before the heat came back on. But how fast it got cold is pretty impressive. So other heating options, like I mentioned yesterday, like the coal stove, wood stoves, I think is a pretty good idea if you already have them installed. If you don't have them installed, you can get smaller units. You don't have to do the whole thing where you have piping going up and out. You can have smaller units with smaller piping, but again, what are you going to do if the grid goes down in some kind of situation, or you have electric out? Up here, we can go 36 to 48 hours without electricity sometimes because of the winter storms, just because of how many lines are going down and how many people are crashing into poles when they're supposed to be staying off the roadways. So that's something that's kind of important to think about. Is it's not a be-all, end-all scenario where it could be a total grid down situation, but if your fridge is out for greater than 24 to 36 hours, all that food's spoiled, and that applies to your freezers too. You can't eat that food, and a lot of that's got to get thrown away. Some of it has longer stability than other things, but in any kind of situation, that's something to think about too. And that's why having more of your canned food and canned goods is helpful. But definitely, I think having something that can charge phones and something that can go to the outside world. We already have that in portable radios, and then we have receiving in the shortwave radio, but nothing that can really charge a phone in an emergency. But the Poland issue, we're going to continue to watch. The Rittenhouse trial is currently in deliberation. There's been nothing on that, and our gas prices are still continuously ridiculous. And just looking at the AAA gas price thing, California is at 4.68 per gallon right now, and I think your lowest is going to end up being nowhere that's below $3. That's for sure. Nobody's below that at all. So, But until the next time, a little ironic thing here, some advice to throw out there, just based on what we talked about yesterday. But until next time, it's Hillside Prepper 552, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.